The New York Football Giants traded back up into the first round to select, presumably, their quarterback of the future, Jaxson Dart out of Ole Miss, another Ole Miss quarterback. What's going on, everybody? Nick Falato, a Big Blue View here to go over Jaxson Dart tape, some of the All-22 film that I was able to get my hands on, and break down the arm talent, the processing, what Jaxson Dart can offer the New York Football Giants. And look, he has an entire year where this player can develop. That's an excellent situation. We've seen a lot of recent quarterbacks who have had a year to develop, get their starting shot, hit the ground running. Patrick Mahomes comes to mind. Lamar Jackson comes to mind. Will that be the case for Jaxson Dart? Look, that remains to be seen. But at this point, Brian Daboll has identified his quarterback. The Giants traded up and they got him. And I'm going to go through some of these plays. We're going to talk about the touch, the pacing he could put on the football, how he's able to successfully move the football down the field. Dart averaged 9.1 yards per attempt with a 10.9 yard ADOT and a 15.1 pressure to sack ratio in Lane Kiffin's high-powered, high-tempo RPO spread offense. It did have some pro concepts as well. There were a lot of RPOs. There were a lot of simplistic reads, but there were also 3-level reads, and you're going to see that throughout this entire video. Dart had a 7.1 big time throw rate in 2024 with just a 2.2% turnover-worthy play rate. Those numbers across his college football career were 6% for the big time throw rate and 2.7% for the turnover-worthy play rate. According to Pro Football Focus, of course, Dart did well against the blitz also in 2024, throwing 12 touchdowns with just 2 interceptions. He completed 66.2% of his passes against the blitz and had an 8.4% big-time throw rate against the blitz specifically. And we're going to see all that through this video. So without further ado, let's get into the tape. The 6'2", 220-pound, 21-year-old, the youngest quarterback in the draft class, has an arm. And look, New York Giant fans, we have dealt with Daniel Jones, and I'm not trying to kick Daniel Jones while he's down, but his arm talent wasn't all that great, and he was very reluctant to throw the football. That's the word that I frequently used over the last 4 years to describe Daniel Jones, reluctant. Well, Jaxson Dart's not reluctant at all, and he can make these far hash rips consistently. He has, I would say, good to very good arm talent overall on a spectrum where elite is like Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen. Excellent is like Justin Herbert. And then you have very good. He falls between good to very good. He can make all the NFL throws. And you could see the velocity and the ability to drive the football on this simple comeback route to number 9. Hits the outside shoulder. Ball's on time, on target. Good, efficient play by Jaxson Dart. A lot of the plays you're going to see all out of the shotgun or the pistol, sidecar type of formations. Again, this wasn't necessarily a pro-style offense. It did have pro-style concepts, though, and I want everybody to see that. It's not just attacking one-on-one outside the numbers because there's a middle-of-the-field closed safety that confirms a one-on-one matchup outside the numbers. But you can see another far hash throw. It's a very good route by the wide receiver. I kind of want to detail that route, too. Just football nerd-wise, right? Eats into the cushion, little stem towards the inside, open up the DB's hips, sink your own hips and explode back outside towards the numbers. And Jaxson Dart puts the football right where it needs to be. He knows pre-snap, this is where he's going with the football, catches, peeks that safety, sees the safety stays. It's going to be cover 3 zone from a depth. Jaxson Dart, you can see his eyes go directly towards this receiver, understanding the comeback. Curl flat defender does not sink. Put enough velocity and touch over the top of that curl flat defender just in case that curl flat defender drinks a Red Bull, grows wings, and then flies underneath your football to catch it, which does not happen. And Jaxson Dart's able to put the football right where it needs to be from the far hash on a line. Perfect pass. Hits the wide receiver, first down. Ole Miss Rebels. You see it again here. Another play. It's another out comeback from the far hash all the way to the numbers. So I just wanted to showcase the overall velocity from Jaxson Dart and how he's able to make these throws consistently and how he's also willing to challenge them. And at the college level, where everything is very spread out, Lane Kiffin liked to spread the offense out, meaning the defense is going to be spread out as well. Dart's going to take that one-on-one pre to post snap once it's confirmed outside the numbers with no safety help. Here we're just going to see graceful touch over the middle of the field. This is something I really appreciate about Jaxson Dart is his ability to layer the football over the linebackers and between the safeties. You can see exactly what I'm talking. He throws this high, allows the tight end on this play or receiver on other plays when they're running dig routes to extend for the football just to pluck it out of the air. And the football drops with a trajectory over the top. Seems like an easy pass, right? But it's not with the defenders in the relative area of where they are. And Dart's able to just put it right over top, and the RPO or the play action, depending on the play here, looks like more like pass blocking. So you have the play action that's going to bring those linebackers up. This is against Brent Venables' defense and Oklahoma. This is a defense that shut down Jalen Milroe and the Alabama offense. Dart was able to go north of 300 passing yards against Oklahoma with over a 73% completion percentage. So he was completing passes on, and this is just a nice throw over the middle of the field over Stutzman, who's probably going to be either a late day 2 pick or an early day 3 pick, that linebacker right in the middle of the field. The defense, you have the safety sink down. It's confirmed. Put it right over the top. These touch throws and the ability to find these very narrow throwing windows and then challenge them over the middle of the field are two aspects of Dart's game that I appreciate. And you can see how Dart's going to check to the right. He's reading a defender. He sees that defender. You can see it better from this angle. See how he was checking to his right. Dart's going to do that once he enters this mesh point. He's going to see the defender stay right to the inside of that hash. And now he understands with the linebackers coming up that he can just gracefully put this over the top, but it has to be quick. Dart does have a quick release. See that throughout this highlight reel, or this video, I should say. Check to the right, see what happens. Doesn't love what happens. Put it right over the top just so your receiver can catch it, pick up the first down. Here's another throw over the middle of the field that requires touch. And look, Dart sometimes puts his receivers into a position to take big hits. Here, one could argue that's what's happening, but he gets the football to where it needs to be, and it is a big hit by the safety, but there's enough time to where the receiver's not getting killed. He can just secure the football and even get down. But on this pass, Dart's putting it over the top of this linebacker. You got Wake Forest is sinking to cover 3. So that seam is going to be open between the two deep third defensive backs at the top of the screen. He's going to take his deep third. He's going to have the midpoint, the number 1 and the number 2, because the number 1 and the number 2 are both declaring vertical. The curl flat's just sinking underneath them. So they're both vertical routes. And that safety has not broken towards the boundary side quite yet. So there is enough time for Dart to deliver this football. And you can see Dart's already throwing once that middle hook defender is not sinking to a depth and the wide receiver is taking a path that is allowing Dart to put it over the top of that middle hook defender. That safety is not there yet. So the ball needs to come out, put on the wide receiver. The wide receiver is able to get both feet down before that middle of the field close safety comes over and delivers a pretty big hit on him. But still, this is a well-timed play by Jaxson Dart. The processing has to be quick on this play to attack the conflict defender here, which is the mid-pointing deep third boundary cornerback. Get the football out, take advantage of the middle of the field close safety, and move the football. You can see the touch a little bit better from this angle. Dart goes into the mesh point, the play action, hits the back foot, and right over the top. Takes a hit, but it's a clean hit. Plenty of time to secure the football. Here we're going to see Dart just touch over the top while on the run. That's another aspect of his game we'll go over a little bit later, is Jaxson Dart's ability to throw while on the run. You can see the ball placement. It's on point. He can lead wide receivers as well. This is a touch throw, but this is also just one of his better throws on tape. And as you can see throughout this as well, Lane Kiffin does a great job designing creative ways to get his wide receivers open and give Jaxson Dart the ability to read the defense and then make a throw. And there's a lot of deception built in to these route concepts, a lot of double moves. And you can see the number 2 receiver to the bottom of your screen to the field side. He is going to run like this is going to be a pick play. And he's going to sell that to Georgia. And then instead of it being a pick, the number 2 receiver is just going to break right back up the field. And now it's on Dart to put this over the top of number 4. Number 4 is shading in that direction, reading Jaxson Dart's eyes. And number 4, as you can see right at this moment, he sees number 3, the wide receiver, start to break back vertical. So he's going to sink underneath that. So it's on Dart to put that high and away and allow number 3 to just climb that ladder and pluck the football out of the air in the blind spot of number 4. That is a sensational throw by Jaxson Dart and a great play by the wide receiver as well in a big game against the Georgia Bulldogs. You'll see him try to confirm all this. Dart gets the football, looks, sees the play, high and away. Allow your receiver to make a play on the football. Something Dart does quite frequently. I cannot wait to watch it when it's Malik Neighbors on the other end of that. Now let's take a look at how Jaxson Dart challenges the middle of the field with these tight window throws, or just not getting his wide receivers killed. I brought it up how there are plays earlier where the wide receivers are taking these big hits. This is a good throw to allow his wide receiver just to dive and then not take the hit at all, but still give him an opportunity to catch the football. With this bender route from 19, he's going to bend around 18. 18 is going to attempt to roll over and back and find it, but 19 is well away from him at that point, and the safeties are split. And Jaxson Dart, when he sees these two safeties split, he's going to attack the seam. He does it quite frequently. He's actually gotten in trouble doing it. I wouldn't say often, but he tried to make throws in college where there was a defender from the other side of the field who was overlapping and going to basically bait Jaxson Dart to make a throw that ended up being either a PBU or an interception. And I'm talking about in the entirety of his college football career. But on this play, you can see the C's part. 19 is going to bend right around 18, and Dart's going to put it low and away so that safety does not come back towards the middle of the field, get to that hash, and deliver a hit on 19. Here's another play against Oklahoma where you're going to have a fake little bubble screen, the 4 receiver side, little pump fake. You can see how Stutzman takes that step towards 21, and then that creates the window. Jaxson Dart quickly processes that, sees the opening, and fires the football because the other defender towards the weak side gets caught flat-footed. The tight end just finds that soft spot. Dart puts the football right where it needs to be in this quality victory by Ole Miss. And here's a play by Alabama where it goes into the mesh point, fire the football, another tight window. Jahad Campbell is just a little bit late to get over there to stop Jaxson Dart. Dart's watching him this entire time. Buy some time in the pocket, flow away from that pressure, set his feet, deliver a strike. Can throw over the middle of the field. That's what I love to see. Here's that throw from before. Just held him just long enough. Good throw. Quality throw. Congested area. Throw through traffic. Let's see some anticipation from Jaxson Dart. Now, this is just a simple little Ohio type of concept. And it doesn't look like a lot, but you can see he's starting to throw this football. This is 3rd and 6. Jaxson Dart's throwing that football before Harris gets into that break. You see he's winding up. He sees how the running back is going to the flat. That's going to expand the edge rusher. Edge rusher is not going to account for the number 1 wide receiver. And you see, obviously, that the cornerback's out of depth. So Dart processes this, get this inside breaking route underneath the vertical. Easy money. And it is easy money. And then Harris does the rest because he is a stud wide receiver who is best buddies with Malik Neighbors. You get the picture here. You'll see it from this angle. How Dart processes this. Right at the snap, catches, sets his feet, fires. Harris does the rest. 3rd and 6, easy first down. Lane Kiffin is just taking advantage of space, and you can see how far out the number 1 receiver is to the field side. He is in a plus split of about 5 yards off the bottom of the numbers. The number 2 receiver is at the hash, and everything else is condensed towards the boundary. So when you're doing that, you got to protect the run. So this apex defender, this overhang, see how far inside he is. Look where the wide receiver is. And now look where the defender is, where the safety is as well. There is a ton of space outside that hash, and the leverage advantage is on the offensive side. So this is an easy pre-snap read for Jaxson Dart to check, see where that defender is. Did he move? No, he stays flat-footed to respect the run. So now it's an easy just throw the out route because 26 is also out of depth. Yes, he's looking through the number 2 receiver and at Jaxson Dart, but he's out of depth, and there's so much space outside the hash that Dart can just throw this football, and it's going to be easy catch. And he does that. So you just attack the leverage, take what the defense gives you. It's something that Dart sometimes doesn't always do. I think in situations like this, he does. But there are times where there's a check down available and he tries to go for the home run. Again, not reluctant at all. It's the antithesis of Daniel Jones. And we're going to look at that right now. Some of his plays where he's just pushing the ball vertically. This one is just up the seam, up the middle of the field, off of another little pump fake. He sells this well. You see how he steps towards that out route, but the out route's covered pretty well because you have that defender flowing underneath, but then you have the other defender staying high and trying to stay towards the outside hip of the number 2 receiver. Dart does not love what he sees, but he also knows on the backside of the play, he has the tight end streaking. The other safety is not dropping to a depth, and then the boundary safety is staying vertical. So this tight end can just break right into space, and it's that fake move that got the field safety to bite towards the number 2 receiver to the field side, allowing the tight end to streak right down and between those hashes. And Dart processes it, and Dart delivers the football. See how Dart doesn't love that? Comes right off his read and gets to the tight end. So this whole notion that he doesn't process isn't necessarily true. Was the offense quarterback friendly? Yes. And that's because Lane Kiffin is a damn good football coach. But plays exist all throughout his tape where he is making 3-level reads, where he's reading high to low. If you watch the John Gruden breakdown with Jaxson Dart, they elucidate that very well, especially towards the middle of it. He comes away looking pretty good from that. And then Gruden's just wildly entertaining. Here's another double move. It's a good throw over the top. You have 2 high safety, and the double move gets the flat defender towards the field side to bite. Good little pump fake by Jaxson Dart. Dart stands strong in the pocket and delivers. Touchdown. See that little step right there? I don't know how much it faked the cornerback out because the cornerback was really focused on 11. Either way, it's a big-time throw. Here against LSU, this is just LSU's defense breaking down, and then Harris drops the football, unfortunately. But you can see Dart go into the mesh point, roll out, set up, and by this point, Harris is well beyond both defensive backs for LSU, and this throw hits him in stride. It's another good throw by Jaxson Dart, but it just cannot be corralled by Harris. You'll see it on this angle. Get your feet underneath you. Throw with your hip. And it's a leading. Harris falls right into the breadbasket towards the middle of the field, led towards the hash a little bit, dropped. I'm only including a few plays to showcase some of these traits, but a lot of what I'm talking about and discussing, it's consistent throughout his tape. And there are elements of his tape that we're going to go through at the end of this video that are reasons to be concerned. I think if you watch the end of the Florida game, which I couldn't get the All-22 of, I just watched that game live, there are reasons to be concerned. He was reckless towards the end of that, and it led to the Ole Miss Rebels losing the football game. But here you'll see his ability to throw on the run, put touch on the ball. He can do this, and this is important to Brian Daboll. This is important for modern NFL quarterbacks to be able to do this. Feel the pocket, don't love what you see. Don't like how 71's getting pushed right into the pocket. Get rid of that football, put it high, and allow your running back to run underneath it. Just be able to throw on the run, get outside the pocket, and what's your creativity when doing so? Now, there was a penalty on this play because of the hold, but I just love the throw. It's like a baseball-style throw, like a shortstop, to be able to be off platform and place the football exactly where it needs to be to allow your wide receiver to catch the ball, not get hit, and just run right out of bounds. That's elite stuff. You feel it. You run around the edge. It's thrown right where it needs to be. Look at that. That's excellent ball placement. No defenders around, but there was a holding penalty. You're going to see him just operate quick, move the pocket. Daboll loves doing shit like this. Get the football outside. You see another sprint out here. We saw so much of this with Daniel Jones. Sprint out smash concept. And if you're Jaxson Dart, you're not looking for the button hook. You're not looking for the curl. You're looking for the flag. You're looking for the corner. And that's exactly what Jaxson Dart hits on this play. Get the defense flowing one way, go the opposite way, 2-man route concept with the crosser. Find the deep option. We'll see a similar play ran by Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones here against the Pittsburgh Steelers next. It's a very similar concept, sprint out with smash. It didn't work for the Giants, and this is from under center, so it's not shotgun. You have the misdirection element to get the defense going in the opposite direction. It's a different style, but it's the same concept of what we just saw from Lane Kiffin and Jaxson Dart. And then Jones gets out on the bootleg, and at this point is where Jones should have thrown to Darius Slayton because Joey Porter Jr. is beat, but Jones was reluctant, did not do so, and then he waited way too long to try to get the football to Chris Manhertz, and then he just gets knocked out of bounds to set up a 3rd and, I believe, 5. But Slayton had some leverage there on both those defensive backs. But that's in the past. Let's watch Jaxson Dart. This isn't Jaxson Dart throwing on the run, but this is Jaxson Dart processing a concept run quite frequently by Brian Dable, and that is the mesh concept. And usually when you get mesh against man coverage, that's what you want, right? Especially if you get that collision that we're watching at the bottom of the screen towards the line of scrimmage, rather, I should say. You see how 11 and the other defender runs, that's incidental contact. And now you have a free runner. Usually quarterbacks will take advantage of that 9 times out of 10, but Dart, he truly reads high to low, and he sees the backside crossing route, and he sees the leverage established by that player, and he takes advantage of it. Instead of just going for the mesh, the mush and the mosh underneath where the contact was, and you can see 11 just streaking into space, he goes for 19 and gets even more yards. And I love the penchant to keep your eyes downfield and to try to swing big. Does it get him in trouble sometimes? Sure. But it's just the aggressive nature of Jaxson Dart that I really appreciate. Here we're going to see some designed runs and just runs in general from Dart. He had 55 designed runs for 264 yards. He had 648 rushing yards in 2024. So he's also someone who's going to break contain, break the pocket, and he can make a few guys miss. He's very tough. He takes some massive hits. That's something he definitely needs to focus on at the next level. Similar to what I critiqued Jaden Daniels about coming out of LSU last year, is you need to learn to get down. He did a good job in his rookie season getting down, but he can't be taking some of the hits that he took in college. Jaxson Dart, like, this is a big hit. It's cool. And he falls in the end zone, and that's excellent. Gets a touchdown. Lowering your shoulder on a linebacker like that, that's not going to happen at the NFL level. You're not going to have that much success, more than likely, right? I mean, he's good size, Jaxson Dart, 6'2". He's a little short, but 220. He's a thick built kid. But yeah, I want to see you get down more and not lower your shoulder against safeties. Here, he does a good job, though. That's a corner, though, I believe. Here against LSU. Protection calls. Doesn't love what he sees. He's going to take off running. You can see he's got some wheels to him. Leaps over a safety. He's trying not to do that in the NFL, but the athletic ability is there. It's very akin to Bo Nix from last year, is what I termed it. We're going to see some of the negatives too. And here's one. And I just brought it up. Just get down sometimes. You can't be taking hits. This is back in 2023. So that's a big hit. Like, I don't want to see you taking that, man. I don't want to see you taking that. Here we're going to see just some reckless behavior from Jaxson Dart, which he can do sometimes. Tries to force it, throws an interception. Just get rid of it sometimes. Like, you'll live to fight another day. He rolled away from where his routes were going, put himself into a position that was precarious, and then he ends up throwing an interception, turning the football over against Wake Forest. You'll see it from the end zone angle now. He looks to his right, doesn't love what he sees, rolls to the left. 45 does a great job spying him here. Pick. I was mentioning this before. This is against Alabama. The field safety sinks underneath the backside route. Both safeties stay over the top of that route, and Jaxson Dart decides to throw it anyways and ends up getting intercepted. Just got to be more judicious and not throw into double coverage. When he's targeting deep, he does this sometimes. Again, love the aggressive nature. I really do, especially after everything the Giants has went through recently, but just got to be protective of the football. Here he just ends up taking a sack and not throwing what that curl route is. After, if you look at the top of the screen, you have the curl sitting near the 20-yard line, and the cornerback is sinking underneath the number 2. But Dart doesn't love what he sees to the right side of the field, so he goes left, and he's looking big again because those safeties are splitting. You see those two safeties splitting with the Mike linebacker trying to stay underneath. He wants to take that shot again, but then he realizes he doesn't love it because 10 is lurking, and 10 has an angle on it. So he's trying to go big, and then it ends up in a sack. But if he just went to the curl to the other side of the field and took what was there, take what the defense gives you, and this isn't the best representation of that, but there are plays like that throughout his tape. Just take what the defense gives you sometimes. You can live to fight another day instead of taking a sack that could be catastrophic towards your drive. And that's something that kills NFL drives specifically. These jerseys are nice, by the way, by Ole Miss. The backside rush gets him. Here we're going to see some inaccurate throws. It's just something I've noticed. Look, when he's on his drop back, his feet they're not always as precise. Like you look at like even Shador Sanders, for instance, like his feet are, it's much more mechanical and methodical and precise and crisp. Whereas guys like Cam Ward, Jaxson Dart, it's not necessarily like that, right? It could be it could be something that hinders his accuracy sometimes. Here he sails this football. Again, this was 2023, I believe, maybe even 2022 tape. So it wasn't last year. You see there's like an extra hitch with his footwork. And he puts the football high, and 11 cannot locate it, and 11 is pissed. And this wasn't something super consistent throughout his tape, but it's something that it happened enough to be noticeable. Here, you see him take that extra step, feeling the rush, catches the ball. His feet are not necessarily set. You see him, they're just kind of like choppy, right? They're not angled towards the throw. And he's just kind of throwing it with his arm. He throws it well behind the wide receiver. Stuff like that could be cleaned up. Here's one where he just puts it right into the deck. I thought maybe this got tipped by 11, but upon further review, it does not appear that way at all. And it's just his feet again. He's trying to roll, and then he takes that like step with it's just kind of an odd way to get to where you want to throw the football. It's a little loosey-goosey, which is fine. I think it's very correctable, but it's something that had to be acknowledged. I don't think he has any accuracy issues, short to intermediate or deep. I think he's overall an accurate quarterback. I will read my synopsis on him for those who care, and we'll get out of here. So here's my synopsis. Jaxson Dart is an interesting college quarterback who operated Lane Kiffin's fast-paced RPO spread system efficiently while leveraging his good overall arm talent to challenge defenses downfield. One of the most controversial parts of Dart's evaluation is the transition from Kiffin's offense, which provided isolated quarterback-friendly reads and packaged RPO plays, to the NFL, where space is limited and the defensive athletes move much faster, albeit there are pro-style passing concepts throughout the offense. Coaches and people with access to Dart may be able to discern his quarterbacking knowledge beyond Kiffin's scheme, but it remains a bit nebulous to outsiders. With that stated, there are reasons to believe Dart projects well to the next level. Dart has good overall arm talent, and he can push the ball vertically with above-average accuracy. I wouldn't say Dart has elite arm talent or the biggest arm in the world, but it's sufficient for the NFL game. He has enough arm strength to access every part of the field. He is willing to stand tall in the pocket and deliver through contact. He is a tough SOB. He's enough of an athlete to escape muddy pockets at the next level. I would say comparable to Bo Nix from last year's draft, who just rushed for 430 yards in his rookie season. Overall, Dart is about to experience an entirely different and possibly more challenging way of playing quarterback. For the NFL, his college style isn't necessarily conducive, but Dart was obviously comfortable in Kiffin's scheme. And that's a good thing. Still, the conjecture about his transition may be detectable in a meeting room or during a workout, but the true nature of that transition may not be ascertained until semi-live reps in training camp. Nevertheless, Dart is a solid prospect to bank on for development due to his projectable traits. I like Jaxson Dart. I think there's a lot of moxie about this kid. And if it's Daboll's guy, you got to trade up and get him. And that's what Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen did. I remain, I don't know if this will work out. Right? There's no way for me to know that right now. I don't love a coach or general manager on a hot seat being put into a position where they have to make a pick where they could get fired. And this could be just leverage to be like, hey, remember when Jaxson Dart came in that 5-win season and he won 3 of 4 games? I don't want that to be a situation that the Giants find themselves in, where the Giants fire Daboll and Schoen, and then Jaxson Dart is foisted upon the next regime coming in. But when you retain a coach and a general manager on a hot seat, it leaves this open as an option. And it's unfair to say, hey, Brian Daboll, I know you love this guy, but we're not going to get him either. So you got to just bite the bullet and you got to eat it. And as I said in my synopsis, there are enough traits to get excited about Jaxson Dart. And then when you hear about his character and you listen to him speak and you see how he carries himself, how he comports himself, and you listen to all the teammates at Ole Miss and what people say about him, you start to get even more excited. And I think this could be the quarterback of the future for the New York Giants, although there's still a lot this kid needs to learn. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. For Nick Falato, signing off. Please like, subscribe, comment on this page, and take care of each other. Bye-bye now.